If you clicked on this video, this hopefully means you love houseplants. But do you sometimes feel overwhelmed by plant care? I have no more than 50 plants and I feel like there's always something to do. But I have a child, I have a household to run, most of the time by myself. So I don't have all the time in the world to spend on my plants. That's why today I decided to share with you 5 plant care activities that I've decided I don't have time for and what I do instead for easier, stress-free plant care. Number 1. Wiping leaves clean. Keeping your leaves clean is very important, but the way that I used to do it before, with a towel, just spraying the leaves, wiping them down very nurturingly and lovingly, is amazing. That can bring peace to a lot of people, but for me, with plants such as ficus benjamin with those small leaves, even the peace lily that has bigger leaves, but there are just so many. I can't keep up with this if I have to do this with all my plants. So what I've started doing instead is just showering them down in the bathroom and waiting for them to drip dry and then putting them back in their place. This also helps me because a lot of my plants are in leca, so I can flush them out at the same time. Number 2, moss balls. These were all the rage when I was starting my plant care journey a year and a half ago, but knowing myself and what kind of plant parent I am, I knew that this was just not going to work for me. I would not be able to keep up with the maintenance of these, chopping, extending, keeping the moss pole moist, dealing with the fungus gnats in the moss. No. So what I've decided to do instead is just keep away from plants that need moss poles to reach their potential, mostly climbing philodendron. But also another solution is just find different ways to support the plants. One plant that I have that I've seen people grow on moss poles is Monstera Thai constellation. I've decided to try grow my Monstera Thai constellation crawling in a long pot. For now, it seems to be doing well. I think it's doing well because these plants in nature do crawl on the forest floor while searching for a place to climb, and they do size up and they have nice big leaves. So I've been trying that out for a while. Other things you can do instead of having moss poles is stakes, core poles, or trellises. I have a beautiful trellis that I bought from our local supermarket that I can't wait to try with my syngonium. Number 3 is cutting off yellowing or browning leaves. I know this makes the plant look kind of ugly, but for me it's not too big of a deal. I've come to terms that I'm going to have brown tips on my spider plant. I've come to terms with the fact that leaves yellow and die off on my peace lily and alocasia as well. But what I've been doing is just letting the leaves yellow off, dry off, and then I can just pull them off when I'm watering or something like that. I don't just go around with my scissors every day looking for, ugly things that I want to cut off. On the other hand, alocasias, I've heard, do benefit from you leaving the leaf on the plant until it dries off completely, so you can easily pull it out because it pulls the nutrients back from this leaf into the plant to make use of them. Number 4 might be one of the more controversial ones because I've heard people talk about how bad this can be for your propagations, but I don't switch out the water on my propagations. I don't clean out the vessel. I just make sure that there's always water in the vessel so that my roots don't dry off, because what happens is they rot when they get dry and you wet them again. Something that happens is the water gets a bit green. It might have kind of a film on top sometimes, but I've never found that to be a problem. None of my propagations have suffered because of green water. So I just decided not to bother with that. Number 5 is dealing with fungus gnats. I really hate those guys. What I decided to do to solve my problem is switch out most of my houseplants to leca. I've left some of my houseplants in soil, like my cacti and succulents, because they don't need a lot of moisture, so I don't have fungus gnat problems with those. But if something can be grown in leca, you best bet I'm going to try grow that in leca. I even have some succulents in leca, like this calancho. The blooms are fading, but it's just in tiny leca pebbles. The roots are great. They're not a lot because it hasn't been in here for long, but it's doing amazing. I have no trouble with that. Of course, I do have some plants that are still in soil that I want to transition to leca, but this is more a matter of me letting them acclimate to my environment before I go mess with their roots and everything. Leca is a game changer when it comes to dealing with fungus gnats. I will say you might still get fungus gnats in leca, but this means there's a problem with the roots. They will probably be rotting if you go and check in there. So pay attention to that. This is what I do to make my life easier with plant care. I don't wipe leaves clean individually. I don't deal with moss poles. I find alternatives. I don't cut away dead leaves the moment they start yellowing. I don't change the water on my water props, and I switch to leca to avoid fungus gnats. Tell me some of the things you're doing to make your plant care easier and some of the things you've totally noped out of doing. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Like this video if you found it valuable and subscribe for more content. See you soon!